sometimes, to be honest with you, creating too much content can take you away from your customer. So I do content that doesn't take me a lot of my time, and I've started selling more once I did cut back on making content.
Are you a solopreneur looking to 2 times your revenue to fund your lifestyle and give back? Well, this podcast is for you. We bring you inspirational guests sharing actionable tips to solve many of the struggles you face each and every day. And now over to your host, Paul Higgins.
Hello to the Build, Live, Give podcast. If you're a first-time listener, welcome. And if you're a regular, thanks for your support. Love to get your feedback at paul@buildlivegive.com. Our guest today is someone who comes from a very strong corporate learning and development background, and then they ventured out into their own learning and development business. She is self-taught at sales and now helps non-sales people to remove the fear of selling. She aligns her skills with a personal passion of helping those with disabilities, something that has been a personal impact in her life. So why listen to this? One is what you should do to build your personal brand and authority when you're first starting out. Second is why you need to communicate on multiple platforms which are best suited to your ideal niche. And thirdly, the number one lever to pull to improve your ability to sell. What I'll do now is hand you over to Rana Kordahi from Employment Services Training. Welcome, Rana Kordahi, to the Build, Live, Give podcast. Great to have you on here, Rana.
Thank you, Paul. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, so why don't we kick off with something that your family or friends know about you that we don't?
So I'm actually a fiction writer, and I wrote a 65,000 word novel a few years ago, which isn't published yet, but yeah, that's something that a lot of people don't know about me.
Excellent. And have you got others in mind?
I do. I mean, more novels. I do, but it's just I have to try publish this one first.
Yeah, you're looking to self-publish, or is fiction more you've got to go through a publisher?
I think, yeah, you can self-publish, but I do prefer to have someone publish it for me. And I think I don't know much, like I haven't done a lot of research, but I've heard that getting someone else to publish, you'll have more success.
Great. Well, look, I'll certainly know I'm about to launch my book. I've certainly got a lot of people in the industry. So after the interview, why don't I give you some names, see if we can get that book out there.
Oh, thank you. Great. Thanks.
So, look, I know you've had a great, sort of corporate job background, and now you're running your own business. But why don't you just give us a quick summary of your journey to get you to here?
So one of the last jobs that I had, or one of them was before I started my business, was I was working in learning and development as a trainer. And although I was writing sales training, we were hiring people to deliver sales training, and we were paying them lots of money. So I thought, I can do this. But little did I realize that it's not just a one-day thing. It's like a 80-hour thing a week. So that kind of motivated me to start. And I was doing a neurolinguistic programming course when I finished that job in London, and I just felt so motivated. And I started the business just very naive, had no idea, and it was called Limitless Minds. And it was initially just corporate training and NLP, which is mindset, personal development training, and it evolved to what it is now today after 6 years.
Great. Well, we'll definitely dive more into what you do now. But I always ask people, was it easier or harder when you made that big jump?
It was definitely hard because I had no clue. I was not because I'm a trained actor, filmmaker. I worked in sales, but I had no idea the marketing side, or I had no idea about business. Anytime I sold something, it was under a brand, and I had a lot of support. Then I had to build my own brand, which I had no idea about what branding was. I had no idea about marketing. So yeah, it was very challenging.
Great.
I think I would have been more successful if I knew all the information that I do now, going back, yeah.
Yeah, and hindsight's always a beautiful thing. But if people that are listening now that may be in a similar position, they've just left, they're starting, what are some of the lessons that you did learn that you could give others that are listening right now?
So there's a lot of lessons. I think number one is to build your authority. So it's not, build your authority of who you are, that expertise, whether it's writing blogs, whether it's getting on camera, whether it's doing email marketing, and just expertise. Also, focus on a specific, for me, and this is what works for me, is focus on a niche and speak their language. And also don't be scared to go out. Although, social selling is great, but if you're trying to target businesses and there's a lot of complex decision makers, don't just rely on marketing. Also do go out and door knock. I actually had someone that just reached out to me yesterday that I door knocked 5 years ago into his office. Door knock, use LinkedIn, make calls, use all the different sales strategies as well as marketing. Because a lot of people get scared and they just think that I just want to do marketing and not go out there, meet people face to face.
Great
I made that
advice.
mistake as well.
Great advice. And I think, LinkedIn at the moment is a great way to build authority. And I know that you post quite regularly. What are some of the secrets you've learned around building authority through your posts on LinkedIn?
So, I've been prospecting on LinkedIn for about 9 years, and I have written articles here and there, and I did position myself as the authority, but I wasn't going hard with content. But what I did learn is, although content is amazing, don't stop doing outreach and don't stop seeing people. Content has helped me shorten the sales cycle, but there was a point where I just relied on content, to be honest with you. And I just got lazy because I'm like, okay, I'm getting all these people, I'm reaching a lot of people, and I just kind of expected people to come to me. So that was a mistake I did. And it's not a mistake I just do. I see a lot of people do. So don't make that mistake. Still do the outreach on LinkedIn to connect with your target market. You're an lead generation expert, so I'm not telling you, but this is just my own learnings. And sometimes, to be honest with you, creating too much content can take you away from your customer. So my learning was I've actually cut back on making videos. I don't know if you noticed. So I do content that doesn't take me a lot of my time, and I've started selling more once I did cut back on making content.
Yeah, look, I think any strength overplayed can become a weakness.
Yeah,
and I think that's really good advice. And I know for a lot of people that I work with, it's 15, 20 minutes for a good piece of content that like today, my piece of content might get 7,000 views, etc. It will definitely lead to people I can help, but it only took me 15, 20 minutes. Whereas I know some people might, go to camera, for an hour until they get it absolutely perfect. And like you said, that's an hour you could spend on follow-up or helping clients that you've already got. And
that's what I was doing, even the editing and all, the editing and all this kind of stuff, which did take me away. And also another mistake I made was I had a niche, it was going really well. Then I started to diversify and go outside my niche. And I thought, influencers and, influencer marketing and influencers liking my stuff. But I actually started to sell less because my pipeline got weak. So sometimes it's not about, I had 4 million views in 1 year. It didn't do much. It did help me get on podcasts, all this authority. But at the same time, sometimes it's not about the amount of views. It's about the right views. And at the same time, I don't need to tell you because you understand marketing, but there's a lot of people that don't. Like they influencer marketing, and let's get this influencer. And I've had people reach out to me. I don't know, they assumed I'm an influencer because I had lots of views, and they tried to give me money to help them. And I said, well, I don't believe in influencer marketing if it's not your target market. Because I'm not your target market. You're in a different country. I have different people on my LinkedIn out of your industry. I'm not going to be able to help you. So
look, I think that's so true. And I love that, it seems to be coming back around, but that I can't remember the guy, I think it was Kevin Kelly or someone, talked about 1,000 fans. And I think, that is becoming even more and more. I think, it goes in cycles, and it was like when Facebook sort of took off and people got lost in that. I think LinkedIn views once again, but I think, really niche down, cater for your fans, as you said. And if it's 1,000 that are, paying you $10,000 a year, that's not a bad business.
Yeah,
so just on the last question before we go into more about what you do today is around who supports you or, through this journey, if you had mentors, coaches, just tell us a little bit about the people that have supported you through this journey.
So I've had a few mentors that were in, they work in corporate and they're C-suite execs. So because my target market is corporate and C-suite and not-for-profits and enterprise, they gave me a lot of advice even on my LinkedIn journey. So when they saw me, I don't know, arguing with someone, They will call me up and say, why are you debating with someone? Delete that comment. It's not good, it's not good for your business. Or I did a course with another guy, a business course coaching, and that was really helpful because I learned a lot more about building authority and building your voice and just going for it and, getting clarity. Although I teach people this, but sometimes I need to hear it from other people and I need people to hold me accountable. So I did have a few of my mentors holding me accountable as well.
Brilliant. Great. Well, look, now we'll go into the build section. And when someone asks you, Rana, what do you do today? How do you best describe that?
Well, I help non-sales people how to sell without fear. That's in a nutshell. And there's a lot of them out there that need to sell in their jobs, but it's not traditional sales title.
Look, it's so true. And I'm sure most people will ask, well, how do you do that?
How I do that? Can you just clarify that question?
Yeah, so I'm sure someone, when you say, I help non-sales people sell without fear, and how do you do that? So
okay,
take us a little bit behind on how you do that.
So number one is I have to try and change their mindset and let them think about the impact they're making. So for example, in employment services, there's a lot of employment consultants who are very altruistic people that have to help people into jobs. People that came out of prison with disabilities, 10 years out of work, never worked. And they have to also, part of the job, other than mentoring them, helping them with their resume, etc., they have to pick up the phone and help these people. So I always try get them to think about what is the impact that you're making. Number one, the impact is your job seekers. Do you care more about that rejection, or do you care more about those job seekers and making a difference? Think about some lives that you've changed. So they start thinking about some people that came up to them and, were crying, going, you've changed my life. Thank you for believing in me. Also, if they don't get that job placement targets, the site closes down. So if it goes under 3 sites, the government takes away their contract. So even their colleagues could lose their jobs. They could lose their jobs. So and also I work on the mindset, the self-belief. We do it some NLP stuff like with thoughts, anchoring, physiology. So once I get them to have a buy-in and become more mission and purpose driven, then we work on their confidence. Then I can start talking to them about all the skills like overcoming objections, the questions, what to say on the phone. Because without working on that mindset and that mission and their purpose, I don't think they're going to be successful, even though they might have the best pitch.
Yeah, look, I think that's important. I know when, I always help people sales, it's, mindset, skills and technology is sort of the 3 that I look at. If you do look at those 3 moons, how much is it, what's you think the mix between the 3?
So number 1 for me is mindset. Because when you have the mindset, then you can work on your skills, and then you can, with the technology, if you don't have the right confidence, you're not going to go and contact a C-suite exec on LinkedIn. You're not going to have the guts. If you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to pick up the technology of a phone, right, and call up someone. Yeah, so mindset is so underestimated, and it's not taught enough from school to even sales courses.
And how long does it typically take to help someone reframe their mindset? Does it take short periods, long periods? What's your experience on that?
So there are some individuals that I've worked with one coaching session, and this is in corporates, or they just did my training, they walked out and they've had that motivation, and they just had that, they knew the skills. And if they were the type of people that wanted to apply and really they were self-motivated, they can do it. But there are other individuals that you have to work with, I think between 3 to 6 months. So just guiding them. And it's not even the coaching session that you do. It's more what's happening in between the homework and the implementation you give them and that accountability. So you keep them on track. There's no magic in the coaching. There's nothing that you say that's amazing. It's just about working on their clarity, what they need to implement and what they need to repeat, making sure that they're doing it. And you're there again to hold them accountable.
Excellent. And do you do any form of role playing in your training? Is that important for people to practice the skills in a safe environment before they do it in a live environment?
Yeah. So there's a few role play activities in the training that I do. But at the same time, when I speak to their managers and in their implementation plans, they have to do role plays in their job. So because they're non-sales people, they don't have a lot of training. They don't have a lot of role playing usually done on the job.
Mm.
So I do and really recommend that their managers, once a week, twice a week in that morning huddle to do role plays and just to repeat, because I do believe repetition is the mother of all learning, and it's a famous saying, right?
Yes.
And also, like I tell them, when you pick up the phone and you get rejected, or the phone call's not going great, or even the message that you sent on LinkedIn or in an email, or when you go door knocking, you're actually practicing. And every time you finish that day or you finish doing that activity, sit down and think about the mistakes and apply what you need to do better.
Great. And out of all the skills that you train on, or the competencies that you train on around sales, what's the one that you constantly see have the biggest lever in someone's results?
It's definitely the mindset and the self-confidence. Like if I had to say about anything, there's a relationship building, there's everything, but at the end of the day, if you don't have self-confidence in yourself, if you don't have confidence in your products or services, or even the results that you're going to get for a customer, then you're not going to be able to sell it effectively. You're not going to use the technology, and you're not going to be, and if you apply those skills, people can kind of tell that you don't really believe in what you're selling or believe in yourself.
Great. And there's a lot of people out there, certainly probably a lot of people listening at the moment saying, look, I do all my sales through, Excel or Google Sheets or whatever. I don't need a sales CRM. What's your views on that? Do you need technology to support you, or you find just doing it in the old-fashioned way of a Google Sheet?
So if you've got a very, so for example, if you're a consultant and you only sell to 5 people a year, and you're really trying to reach out to 30 people a year, then I don't think you need a CRM. However, if you've got a high volume product with lots of volume, and you're reaching out to so many people, hundreds of people, then you do need a CRM to track what you're doing, to track those conversations. It just depends, because I've seen people that they're just consultants and they work with 5 clients a year. Everything's done through referrals, and they might pick up the phone here and there, and they don't have to keep track of so many people or so many conversations.
Great. So around your business, so let's just have a little look at your business at the moment.
Yeah.
So if what's sort of the key focus for you at the moment? What's helping you drive your growth at the moment in your business?
So once I went back to my I keep on saying niche. Once I went back to my niche, which is employment services, and I teach them sales, but I speak their language, I speak their jargon, I speak their problems. That's when I started to sell more. Like in 4 months, I've closed over $100,000 in 4 months. So, but before that, like maybe it took me a lot longer to even get there, because I have 4 businesses, and my focus was not on my niche. I wasn't talking their language. I wasn't creating content for them. I was getting business through referrals, but I wasn't really focused on them. So I think it's so important to focus on a specific industry, get successful at that, and then move on to the next. And not everyone's your client as well. So I just wanted everyone to be my client. Every single salesperson or non-salesperson, they were my client, but that's not, I've got a lot of competition, right? So just narrow it down.
Yeah, and you talked about, referrals is a great source of leads, and rough rule of thumb is about 94%, I think, of businesses in the US rely on, referrals as a source of leads. But, we talked before about LinkedIn and other things. What are other ways that you're driving leads to your business at the moment that is working well?
So with referrals, when you first start a business or you first start an industry and you're trying to build a pipeline, no one's going to refer you. They don't know anything about you. So you do have to pick up the phone. You have to get on LinkedIn. You have to send emails. You have to go door knocking. And then once you do a great job, then you can start getting referrals. For me, I do rely mostly on referrals, to be honest with you, but my email marketing, that gets me a lot of business. My email marketing goes out to my niche, and actually most people online have never seen my articles except in my email marketing. So that just goes out to my email marketing. LinkedIn has been great for me. When I post something to do with employment services, I do get people reaching out to me. And getting on the phone. Getting on the phone and talking to even not new business, but people that that are your prospects, that you're following up with something of value. Inviting them to come speak, get on a podcast, sending them an article. just with your prospects, or also contacting clients. So for example, I messaged somebody last week and I said, hey, how are you going? I just wanted to catch up. So I wanted to say hello. And this is a prospect that I reached out to 3 years ago through a cold call. And he's like, oh yeah, hi, how are you? And then a week later, he's asking me to send a proposal because I stayed on top of mine. Now he doesn't use LinkedIn, so I emailed him, right? So also don't just depend on LinkedIn, because a lot of decision makers might not log on to it. Some of them have forgot their password. It's great, but at the same time, there's other, you need to have a different approach. So think about, okay, these are the clients, 20% of them, they're using LinkedIn. 20% of other people, they like the phone. 20% of other people, they want email, right? Other people, you might get them door knocking because they don't really, they're in an industry that doesn't really use online technology.
Yeah, I think that's so important. We always start with the ideal client first, really look at how they communicate and then use the platforms. Whereas it's right, it's a bit of the cart before the horse, I think, sometimes, of picking a platform you love and then making everyone or assume that everyone's on it. So it's a really good point. I know you've got a virtual assistant. Just tell us a little bit about why they're so important for you and your business.
So before I had a virtual assistant, it was so hard for me. I was working probably more hours than what I am now, but it's freed me up to do what's important, which is focus on my business. And it's freed me up to talk to clients and do business development, which is the most important thing, and also to service my clients and do a good job for them. So before then, all the little email stuff, even sometimes with the content stuff, some of the editing stuff took a lot of my time. So she's really helping me a lot.
Great. And I get the sense that you wouldn't not have a VA.
No. I mean, unless I can't afford one. If you can't afford one, but I guess you can, if you make that an investment, then that's how your business is going to grow. Because sometimes, even if you can't really afford, think about the return on investment later on.
Yeah, look, I agree. I always say these days you need some form of laptop or tablet. You need a phone, and I think a VA. They're the essentials of running your own business.
Yeah.
So before we go into the next section, which is the live section, I'd just like to talk about our high-level group mentoring program. It's called BLG Serve. If you Surge, I should say, if you are wanting to, 2 times your revenue, pay yourself more and work less hours, just like Rana's spoken about, then this could be for you. So we work with like-minded solopreneurs to build, live and give. So just go to buildlivegive.com/surge to apply today. And there'll be definitely links in the show notes as well. So now back to the live section. So what are some daily habits that help you be really successful, Rana?
So some daily habits of me being successful. Well, I think I'm going to tell you, I've had a lot of non-successful days because I woke up, I didn't look at my plan, I had no clarity, I had no focus, I spent time on social media, and that whole day was wasted. So what I do now is I make sure that I use a blocker for social media. It's so important because if you've conditioned your hand to just check your phone, you're going to always check your phone. So that's number one. Also, I need to have clarity in what I need to achieve in the day. And I don't focus on too many things. I just focus on 4 important things. And exercise has to be part of my day. And eating healthy as well.
Great. Brilliant. And the me time, what do you do? I know your VA is giving you back some time, etc. But what do you do to get some me time in your life? So
yoga, exercise, that's the most important thing. I'm not very social at the moment. So because I actually enjoy running my business. When I'm sitting down, whether it's prospecting, talking to my clients, creating content, whatever it is, I enjoy that sometimes more than going out for a drink. But my love life and all that is suffering. So I might need to get more social very soon as part of a me time.
There we go.
Yeah.
So the give section. So, tell us about a charity or a community or a cause that you're really passionate about and why.
So I'm a vegan animal rights activist, and I believe that animals, they have their own purpose in life. And if we don't need to eat them to survive, then we don't have to. So I really do speak up for those animals, especially farm animals, because people love dogs, but then, we kind of don't care about the pigs who are as intelligent. But at the same time, I don't judge people. I know they're on their own journey. That's how we brought up. That's part of our culture. So I try to educate people in a nice way, and it's great for their health as well. Another one is disability. I've got people in my family who have disabilities, from intellectual to health problems, and especially disability employment. That's my market, that's my niche. And it's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about that. I probably don't get paid as much as I would if I was really focusing on corporates or mining, for example. But it's, disability, anyone can have a disability. I don't think you should discriminate against somebody, and anyone could lose their job tomorrow. So if somebody is reaching out to you from employment services and they say to you, can you look at, I've got a job seeker, can you see them? At least keep an open mind, because they are the most loyal, because they don't get a lot of chances sometimes, and they do have a great work ethic, and they can, focus on their ability. So
I think that's so true. And I know for my local Coles up here, I love the fact that it has all different types of people. And I know it's always a little bit difficult to, I find it difficult to talk about disability in the right way all the time, but it's just brilliant. They're just, as you know, they're no different than anybody else, and it's so great seeing them in the workforce. So a big shout out to Coles, who's an Australian supermarket brand that does it. And I'm sure you deal with a lot of other corporates that do it as well. And I think it's a great thing that you're doing, and continue to do it. So the last section is the action section. So I'll just give you some questions and get some rapid fire responses. So the first one is, what are your top 3 personal effectiveness tips?
So planning, being focused, number 2, and determination, not giving up.
Great. And what's a bit of software that you couldn't run your business without?
Let me think. MailChimp. I love MailChimp.
Great. Yeah, hasn't that had a fantastic rise? And the next question is, what's your best source for new ideas to improve you and your business?
So new ideas to improve me and my business. The best source. Okay, so I love YouTube, podcasts, reading books, but I do try and focus on one program and really repeat that kind of process. So I might listen to a YouTube video 10 times from one, Fearless. Have you seen that guy? What's his name? He wrote the book Fearless.
I know of the book, but I can't remember his name. Yeah, I'll definitely put it in the show notes.
Yeah, the trainer of Michael Jordan. So I've been just listening to his stuff over and over and over, and that's really implemented into my brain, and I'm taking action.
Brilliant. Yeah, what a world we live in, where you can just tap into all that knowledge from wherever you are. It's amazing. And for me personally, I love speeding it up as well. So
I know.
It's great. Look, the last question is the biggest question. And it is, what impact do you want to leave on this world?
That's actually a hard one, because I haven't really thought about the impact I want to leave, but I do want to leave the world in a better place. So making a difference in someone's life, or many people's lives, and also animals' lives. Like, I want to be that person that plants the seed where people sit under that tree that I haven't even seen grown. And that's either with, animal rights or disability rights, etc.
Brilliant. Well, look, it's amazing that you've turned, something that could often be turned into only for profit to actually help those that are in need. And, you've also been really kind to give the world a fantastic course. So if you go to sellingfornonsalespeople.com, you can get Rana's great methodology that she helps so many people with. So it will be in the show notes, but it's sellingfornonsalespeople.com. But Rana, I just want to really thank you for coming on the show today, inspiring us to, give more. And I just wish you every success in the future.
Thank you so much, Paul.
Brilliant. Thanks, Rana. I really enjoyed that interview with Rana, and it's great that she's got such personal passions and how she mixes her skills to support those passions. I think it's fantastic. So you can get all of the show notes with everything that was mentioned in there by Rana at buildlivegive.com. If you'd love to be a guest on the show, click the email logo on our homepage, and we would love to have you on. If you'd like to get more leads with LinkedIn, just go to blgdownload.com L&amp.com. Please take action to build your business, to fund your lifestyle, and to give back.
Thank you for listening to the Build, Live, Give podcast. If you like what you heard, please subscribe and leave us a review. It would mean the world to us.